Mike Emery has built a life and career that many people dream about, but few are willing to commit to. His work has become a defining part of modern motocross and supercross, but behind every photo is a level of dedication that most people never see. The constant travel, the late nights, the pressure to deliver week after week with no pause button. Making a dream last requires discipline, sacrifice, and the willingness to keep showing up when passion alone isn't enough. In this conversation, we talk about what it really takes to build a career behind the lens. The grind of content creation, the balance of quality and quantity, and how you stay motivated inside a system that never slows down. This is a conversation about the work behind the dream. This is Mike Emery. Now let's dive in. I want to give a shout out to my amazing sponsor, Rider Justice. There's a lot stacked against us as riders. The unpredictable things that can happen out on the road, and there's a general negative perception of motorcyclists in the courts when something unfortunate happens. Thankfully, there's someone out there who's been fighting for us, like really fighting for over 25 years, and that's Scott O'Sullivan of Rider Justice. Scott is not just a lawyer, he's an advocate for riders. The kind who shows up to rallies, sits on nonprofit boards, gives free legal advice to riders in need, and truly fights for our rights. He launched Rider Justice to stand up for all of us, on the road, in the courtroom, and in our culture. If you've been hurt in a crash, if you've lost someone, or if you just want to know your rights as a rider, go to riderjustice.com. Welcome to Ride Beyond, where we go beyond the ride and into what matters. In this podcast, you'll find meaningful conversations with people who live with passion, chase freedom, and remind us what it means to live fully. The motorcycle is our connection, but the stories are what take us beyond.
I'm stoked you made it. It's cool to be on the show and for your pod. And first off, cool to see what you're doing. Like, it's cool to see it in person.
Likewise, it's been cool to see what you've done throughout the last 15 years, man. Like, I remember the early days, like when I first saw your name with Verb Moto, I think. I was kind of doing some work with them, and you were as well. And I remember you were like an up and coming photographer, and now you've like carved your career in this space, and it's insane.
Crazy.
I'd love to go back to like before all that though. Like, what were you doing before photography?
Just, well, professionally, I worked on cars, but like my whole life was skateboarding based. Like, kind of just
You grew up skateboarding?
Grew up skateboarding from age 12, pick up a skateboard. I was into moto as a kid. Skateboarding came into my life around, like, my neighbors started skating and I saw them. So that I immediately was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. You can do that right in the street. Whereas moto was a little bit like of a mish to go do it. And we never had like crazy money to be going all out with moto. So anyways, found skating, super into that, got into that heavy, and sort of just, it's all I cared about throughout high school. And I still rode moto a little bit. And my dad and my brother sort of grew out of it. You know how families, like, you ride together as kids, and then we sort of all got older. So skating sort of replaced moto for me, and it was so accessible. So that sort of took over my life. Still went to college, took a year off after high school, but just skate, live with my friends, did that for a while. So that's where a lot of my influence comes from.
Yeah. You can kind of see that in your photography, just the way you shoot, the more black and white, doing
I love black and white
creative things, whether it's like a wide angle or like motion blur or whatever. You can see that little bit of like action sports influence. When did you start riding moto? Did you grow up racing at all, or did you just ride for fun?
I got a bike when I was 8. I got a Z50, little Honda, and I rode that. I got a KX60. My dad, my brother, and I would go ride this place called Hamburg. It's about an hour away, and just super like whole pits, kind of like. So we just trail rode, but we raced locally at a super amateur level. Like, I would get waxed by the local kids, but still had fun. My dad would race, my brother would race. like I said, you get older, you sort of, your family, I think people either stick with it and get super into it, or they sort of fizzle sometimes with racing. So yeah.
Racing's hard. Like if you don't, I mean, it takes a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of money, and even outside of the racing, like there's all the bike maintenance and all the expenses. It's kind of like skateboarding is so much more accessible as a kid. Like you can just grab your board and go with your
Yeah.
friends. You can take your board to school. You can like whatever it is, like you just take it and go.
Yeah. It taught me so much about life. Learning, meeting so many different people from all walks of life. And I eventually, um, I moved to California, not during the time when I moved to California, I was still into skating, but I sort of was burnt out on it. And that was right around the time I still skated, but I was like amateur sponsored, like at a lower level. But I think similar to what happens to motocross racers, sometimes it sort of gets to be like not fun a little bit, like you're filming and some friends are still into it. Other friends kind of fizzle out on skating, but that's sort of when photography came into my life. And then I got re-sparked on moto because it was so different than skating. But all the while, I always skated. So it's kind of interesting how I came upon the moto photography.
How did these two worlds of like moto and skate first draw you in creatively? You said that like that kind of inspired you to shoot. I feel like moto inspired photography inspired you to get back into moto. And I feel like skateboarding influenced the way you shoot a lot.
Yeah, it's sort of funny. My brother, when he was like late 20s, early 30s, sorry, my brother, when he was like late 20s, early 30s, was like way into moto, was racing and riding. He had a CR250 and then he bought a 450. And I was like, hey, like, let me come ride that CR250. Like, I want to come ride. So I
It's
went.
been a while since
Oh,
you've
it'd
ridden.
been for super long. And we went out to this track in New Jersey, some sand track, and I was so rusty, like just so goon. And I was like, wow, I haven't done this in a long time. Like, what a fun time. And then I became like riding with my brother. We bonded over that. I had a camera on me at the time and sort of just really amateur photography. I'd come to the track on the weekends, we'd race, I would shoot. Like just kind of go out there and not really ask for permission and just kind of shoot like skate style. And then I just fell in love with it. It's sort of funny how that happens.
That's cool. What sparked the interest in getting into photography in the first place?
I think skating, that looking through
It's a
magazines,
big part of the culture with skateboarding. Is that
yeah,
content creation and
it's just a lifestyle. And I think that looking through magazines my whole life, and I had trans world snowboarding too when I was younger. I wasn't a huge snowboarder, but just the art perspective of the sport. I think like looking back on magazines, whether I knew it or not, I was being influenced nonstop by the photography, whether it be like, I think in skating, it's so much different than moto. Say a guy will wear like a certain colored t-shirt to match the bricks at a spot. And it's aesthetically like creates that photo to be that much cooler. And like, whether we realize that, but in skating, I think it's just a bigger artistically driven sport.
totally? I think action sports in general, like there's so much influence that you can pull from, especially when you're first starting, 15 years ago, like moto. I think moto has come a long way. And I remember like I could see that influence in your work when I first saw it. Like when you first kind of came on the scene, obviously that's what differentiated you and led you to the opportunities that you eventually had. But
Yeah, that's cool. I
yeah.
appreciate that. I was probably one of the only people running around with a fisheye a lot.
Mhm.
That's something that comes from skating.
Yeah.
But I was heavily influenced by people like Simon Cudby, who is, became a mentor to me, and his classic, like just, he's like the benchmark of photography, like quality to me. So I was, at a younger age looking at my dad's Racer X's and my dad's all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of a magazine nerd.
Mhm. You were taking this like legacy quality that Simon Cudby has, but then like putting like the more youthful flair onto your images and like pulling influence from these action sports. And dude, I remember Cudby, I was working at Answer Racing and we had a shoot with Jake Weimer in like 2011 or 12. we were shooting in the evening for like a new Answer signature gear that he had, and I was talking to Cudby. I'm like, hey, who are some of like the up and coming like photographers that you've been checking out? And he's like, oh, there's so many, but like that Emery kid really stands out.
That's cool to hear. That's really cool.
He was like, yeah, this Emery, I think he's really good.
That's really cool. I've never heard that yet. Yeah,
it was before you guys were working together, probably before he even like knew you.
Yeah, but, I remember not to interrupt, I became friends with Simon, obviously, but when I was younger, I had messaged him because when you're younger, you're just like, that guy's doing it, like, holy crap. And he was the guy forever. And I messaged him on Facebook and I was like, hey man, just wanted to say, like, big fan of your work, you know?
Yeah.
Just like one of those kind of nerd little DMs. And then
Did he respond?
Well, yeah, he said, hey, thanks. But then years later, we became friends and he went to message me on Facebook and that message was still there.
Oh,
and
that's
he's like,
cool.
hey, this is pretty funny. He's like, do you remember sending that? And I was like, yeah.
Dude, that's sick.
He's been amazing my whole career. I mean, like, I would lean on him for guidance, which I think is huge for kids coming up. Like, I ask anyone that's younger and they do it all the time. Say, bang on my door if you have any questions.
Yeah, that's so cool. I think that's been a really consistent theme in my conversations with people that have like kind of achieved their dreams, is like the next step is passing that knowledge down to the next generation so that they can have that opportunity.
Nobody wants to be around a grumpy curmudgeon that doesn't share any info, and it just helps everybody out.
Right.
You know, you don't want someone asks the value of a shoot, you know, it's like, it means a lot if someone comes and asks you, hey, what is this worth? Because that's where you can get into sell yourself short quick.
Yeah. It's like getting rid of that scarcity mindset that like you're all in competition with each other, and having an abundance mindset that like the rising tide can lift all the boats, you know?
Yeah. And I think like I have my eyes on the youngsters all the time. I mean, that's why I like going to Loretta Lynn's. I like to see what are all the Groms up to, and
Grom photographer.
Yeah. And video kids.
That's
like,
cool.
I think it's cool to see the future and what they're doing.
Yeah.
Always try to talk to them. And
do you see any like changes with the way they're approaching photography? Like, is there any difference stylistically or like just the way they work? Or
yeah, I think there's a lot of like, I think a lot of it's for Instagram, which is cool, but also I think some of the youth and some of the youngsters they don't understand maybe what it might take to have a really high quality image, whereas it looks cool in the feed, but like to be able to go do a shoot, I think there's a pretty big gap there.
Especially when you're like working for a brand and it's not just an art piece. Yeah.
And to take direction, like I brought up Shane Kinman, who's, he's been huge in my career as like teaching me through Transworld days how to take direction, which is like, as a photographer, you've given direction. It's huge.
I think when you're just starting though, it might be difficult because you feel like you have a creative vision and you have something to say and like you want it to be like your thing. And then when an outside voice is telling you how they want it to look and you're like, I'm the artist, you have to like let go of that ego a little bit if you want to make it in the industry.
Yeah, it's tough to learn, whereas and you get to a point where you get hired where they know what you're going to do, but you still need to be able to achieve the end goal. So it's like, I think as you start, you go through the progressions of being like, okay, they know they want what I do, but I need to also hit the goals that advertising campaign or whatever the goal is. That's fun.
It's super lucky when you can get to a point where like people are hiring you based on your personal aesthetic. Because they're like, I love the way he shoots and I want him to do that. Rather than just being like a monkey behind the camera, you know?
Yeah. And just trying, like, it feels special when someone knows, when they trust you, or if you get a direction board, like a mood board, and it has photos that you shot on it, you're like, okay, cool. This is good. Hopefully I'll nail this one.
I get that from brands all the time. Like when you're like working on a project and they send you like a deck that has like your work on it. I'm like, oh, sick. We can do that.
Yep. Like, sweet. Right in my alley.
Yeah. So before you were getting paid to do this, you said you were a mechanic?
Yeah. So I kind of like going back to the skateboarding through high school. I hated school. Like not trying to teach kids to hate school, but I was just not into it. ADD kid, like suffered through high school. I always got okay grades. I think I could hack my way through it, but took a year off of high school. After high school, didn't want to go to college. Did like general labor jobs, like which were just like temp jobs, and quickly realized that probably I should go to college because it was just like pretty rough, you know. I think everyone should do that too in their life, work some really crap jobs.
Yeah, that's what gives you the motivation to do something cool.
Yeah, it totally does. And I went to school for like general education studies. And then at the time I was really into cars, like just like super into working on cars, tinkering. And I was always mechanically inclined. So I said, shoot, I'll just go to school for auto mechanics. And that's an easier path than like a business degree in my head. I'm like, I'll get a 2-year degree.
You can kind of be around things that you enjoy.
Yeah, and I enjoyed fixing things. So that sort of stemmed an 8 or so year car automotive technician. Like that was my job.
How old were you? You're out of high school?
Yeah, I took
college?
a year off. So it was probably in my early, you know, from age 20 to like when I turned 30. It's like I'm skipping, but I did the automotive thing for a good 8 years, working my way through that. And I managed a shop. I moved across the country, worked for a Volvo specific shop, managed that. But all the while I was always skateboarding. So it sort of was like, I was able to do things that I wanted to do. And then also became super into dirt bikes again, like I said, with my brother. So it was kind of cool because I was able to afford my hobbies, but I was definitely a 9-to-5er, blue collar, worker.
Yeah. So I mean, you were working 9 to 5. You're still skateboarding. You were shooting for fun. When did you figure out like, hey, this camera could actually be something that I could run with and do?
I think like passion I had, like the artistic, like I was so geeked on it. Like I was shooting photos of like just flowers out front of my house and just learning how to do it. Like it's a machine at its core, right? It's like a science, or it's like a math problem, your exposure. You know what I mean? Like, so figuring that out, I was so into it.
Especially being like an analytical guy who like has a mechanical type of mind.
Well, like I remember like I didn't understand what ISO was. And then when I figured it out, I was like, oh my gosh, like that was the last piece of the puzzle. But I didn't take any classes. I just was crash coursing it. But yeah, so just bringing the camera to the track with my brother. But I think people giving me such positive feedback, sort of
what you're capturing.
Yeah, and it was really cool because I was like, man, I'm able to shoot some cool photos of my friends, and that was really gratifying to see people be, you know, everyone likes a cool photo of themselves. But I think like started to get small opportunities in the local scene. Like there was a guy named Jace Wade who did East MX, which is like a small online thing, and he's like, hey, do you want to shoot some photos for the website? And
like a media platform?
Yeah, just a local level platform. And I was like, wow, that's cool, you know? And I remember, but my photos were so wild, like looking back at that stuff, the vision was there, but mechanically they were kind of all over the place. But it's fun to look back. But I think really the addiction came when I moved to California. I moved to Northern California. A couple friends had got a house together and some skateboarding friends. And I'm like going through a a breakup with a girlfriend. And I'm like, I'm moving to California. Like I'm doing it.
So you moved out there for like a fresh start. It wasn't like a photo opportunity.
No, just to chase, like living in Pennsylvania my whole life. You know how it is. California is like,
that's the dream.
You got to check it out. Moved to NorCal just because people I knew moved there. And then I really got into photography at that point, like shooting. I would go out to local Northern California tracks, like 408 MX. There was another place called Argyle. These are like NorCal tracks. And I'm picturing it to be like SoCal because I just know the magazines, but NorCal is so different. But it was really cool. I started buying lenses, and I got a 7200 lens, which is a big step. But I think
still just shooting for fun,
and shooting some skateboarding too for fun, just really passion-based photography. Cause I didn't think I could do this for a living. I mean, most people that pick up a camera, I don't think I don't think the motive is to do it for
I
a
think it
living.
has to start as a passion or your work's not going to be good.
Yeah, and I to this day I love it. So it's just like it's cool. Like I tell people like I'm the luckiest person in the world to be able to like find something that I'm both this passionate about and I happen to be good at it. Like how cool is that? Like
And your subject matter is something that you're into.
yeah, and it's like throughout my career it never like I'm not tired of it, you know? But so yeah, NorCal was my home base, but I wasn't tied into the moto scene at all. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to Anaheim one. Like, I'm going to Anaheim. Like, I'm just going to shoot it. And I'm like a fan of moto. I bought a ticket,
Like just from the stand.
literally just brought my 7200. I
They
didn't,
let you in with the camera?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just ran it. I guess I got by, or maybe back then they didn't care.
Do they care now?
I think they like allow certain lens like up to a certain size, but who knows? But I remember, I got there and I'm just like, this is sick. I just drove down by myself, like made the trip from NorCal, got a hotel, or I stayed with my friends in San Diego. But yeah, I shot the race from a fan perspective. And I had this blog at the time that was like my little blog spot. Remember the bloggers back in the day?
Blogging was big. What was
Yeah.
your blog called?
Just emeryphoto.blogspot.com, I think.
Okay.
But
Like Tumblr. Did you have a Tumblr?
no, I didn't have a Tumblr. I wasn't that cool.
Me either.
But yeah, so I posted my photos like in a blog form, and I was doing that from the local races too. And then I'm like, man, that was cool. Like I want to do that again. So I sent that link to like probably Racer X, probably a couple people being like, hey, I know there's probably not any opportunities, but this is what I just did. Like, here's some work from Anaheim if you ever have any need. You know what I mean? Just like a classic cold call. And my now friend Austin White, who ran Insider MX,
Oh, dude, I forgot
remember
about
that website?
Insider. That's sick.
He responded like pretty quick. And I remember working at the auto shop at the time, and he's like, hey, these are really cool. Like, what are you doing next weekend? And I'm like, I don't know, man. He was like, do you want to come down and shoot San Diego Supercross? And I was just like blown away. I'm just like, you're kidding me? Like,
That's
how is
kind
that?
of your first break.
Yeah. And I always say that to him, like, he's really gave me my first shot, which he was just running a website and he was shooting at the time. He was a racer turned media guy.
Mm-hmm. He's just kind of doing it himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a grassroots site. But he was a good designer and they did cool stuff. And back then that was before Instagram. So like race galleries were like big time, like, you know. So he gave me the opportunity to come and meet him. I went down. I'm like, this is crazy. Rented a car. And then I was on the floor. And it was like, that doesn't happen. I wasn't there to shoot.
It was the next weekend?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it was like
That's
that weekend
crazy.
or the weekend after. It was like
Quick.
overnight. Yeah. And I'm like, wow. But I shot some celebrities for Feld, like B-list celebrities that they had at the time. Like one of them was Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell. I forget his real name. Gosler, I think. Super nice guy. But I remember just he was like, hey, you're gonna shoot this stuff. So it wasn't really like race-based stuff.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, I like your stuff you did behind the scenes. Like, he was like, I just want to see what you shoot.
Like some stuff in the pits or something?
Yeah, portraits in pits and whatever. So I did it. And from there, we became friends. And he obviously did a bunch of amateur content. So I took every opportunity from that minute on. And I was addicted. I was like,
hey, did you caught the wave and you're like, you got to ride it?
Yeah. And I made myself available at any moment. Like I was working full time at the automotive shop. This is what I tell people. They're like, how do you get to where you are? I'm like, shit, work hard. I mean, like I would work 40 hours a week, leave Oakland on Friday, drive to SoCal, shoot a Southern California Supercross, drive home the night of the race, sleep in my truck, get home Sunday, edit all my photos, go to bed Sunday night, work Monday to Friday. Like that was my because there's no money at that level.
I don't think people realize like the grind that it takes to get to where you want to go sometimes.
And that, like, I look back on those are some of my fondest memories, like sleeping in my truck at the Iron Skillet parking lot on the 5. You know what I mean? But yeah, really cool learning curve from there to where I don't know what happened next. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you you were working with Insider, and it was kind of your first like opportunity to like step into this industry. What kind of events happened after that? Because eventually you were working with Verb, right?
Mhm.
A little bit.
Yeah. That turned into Burb. I did a lot of Insider stuff for a while. Like we did a bunch of like just amateur stuff. I shot a bunch of
Were you getting
supercrosses,
paid by them?
small amounts. Like it was really a hustle. Like that's
It's
why I
more about the
stayed where.
experience
Yeah,
and
it
like
was cutting my teeth, and I don't think I was really good enough to be paid at that point. I think he saw potential in me, and like I said, my angles might have been there, but maybe the mechanicals of the photos weren't as great. Like now I look back and I'm like, man, you had the eye, but maybe not the knowledge or the gear. But I learned and kept on. I remember I bought a 300 prime lens, which is like pretty big deal. I was like, dang, this is what Simon uses. This is what everyone's using. And I kind of soaked everything in like a sponge throughout those periods. But I started working with Verb, did that for a while. And then I kind of honed in on amateur stuff. I was really, as like you bring up money, I remember being at the pro level and I'm like, there are so many people shooting photos. Like, how am I going to have a piece of that pie? Like, first of all, to have the confidence to think I deserve that is one thing, but then you have, you know, like how do you crack into that? Which that's still hard to this day. I'm lucky to be in the position I'm in to be able to make a living, but I saw people like Simon. So I went towards the amateur route, which was looking back was pretty smart because I ended up working with Kawasaki, some Monster Energy work. Fox would hire me, and it was very like gig to gig, like it wasn't full time. Cycle News I did some work for, but it was just sort of just any opportunity. Like that's what I try to stress.
were you getting hired for these like shoots independently, or was this like through Insider?
No, independently.
Oh, that's cool.
After Insider, he sort of fizzled it out. I think the site sort of fizzled. I was really hyped to work with Verb. Like Verb was pretty badass back then too.
Yeah,
And
that was like the prime.
yeah,
of
it was
Verb.
like it was definitely like an honor to do that. And I remember, and I was learning from Wes too. Like I would run some GoPros. I was just like the guy that would, if you ask me to do it, I'll try to figure it out. And that's, I think, is important. Like
Yeah,
to be a Swiss Army knife. Like
totally. That's so important in the creative
like
field.
video. Like I learned video for the Transworld job. Like that's the next step after Verb. Transworld came along, and I was working for Verb. That was still working on cars, but it was really getting close to where I was like, I need to figure out how to make that jump.
But
And then,
you still had another job when you're working with Verb. Huh?
oh yeah, I was working at the automotive shop in Oakland I worked there for like 6 years.
Crazy. Like I would have just thought that you were just shooting photography because your work was really good. And I feel like that period of like those early days at Verb, it's when your name really became like known in the industry.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was that's again, it's like to financially make that leap.
It's hard.
Yeah, it was a big deal. And I was getting to that point where like photo work was conflicting with, or my main automotive job was conflicting with being able to go on a photo shoot. And then I would take my week-long vacation to go shoot Mammoth. So I'm getting paid by my automotive job to take a week vacation to go make money in Mammoth,
Yeah.
but no break, But
Yeah.
those are the days I look back on, like that's a magic time. I mean, I was young, single,
A great problem to have.
yeah, not tied to anything, like living very cheap, living with my friends, no girlfriend, no distractions. Just like I said, I had a long-term girlfriend back in Pennsylvania, but I spent like a good 4 years just like really focused on myself. And I did like the most growing up and learning about myself, living it far away from my home too. So, you know what I mean?
It's insane what a couple years of like focus can do to your life.
Mhm. And
Like-
and growth, like
Growth. Yeah. You go through some hard times and you're pushed into a corner where you're forced to like make some changes and grow. And then that's when like magic happens, because then when you're backed into a corner
Yeah.
and you're forced to like make it happen. I think this has happened a few times throughout your story,
yeah,
but like that's when you either make it or you don't,
yeah. I think that's the advice I give any youngster, like anyone coming up. Like if you get an opportunity, like seize it, because they don't come often, and like you might, it's up to you to capitalize on that. and that leads to that next relationship, or like even working, like meeting you through Verb and like working with the people, the talented people. I'm soaking that up like a sponge,
Yeah.
and it's just like, I'm just tripping on it at the time. But then the next step was Transworld.
Again, another opportunity you have to
Like
capitalize
shouldn't
on.
have got that job. Like looking back,
I don't
like
know. I think
maybe
it probably feels that way from your perspective because like when you're early in your career, you almost have like imposter syndrome because you're
totally.
like, oh, when are they gonna find out that I'm not that good?
That's I still feel like that. Like, is anyone gonna figure it out? I had a friend, Chris Kimball, who worked at Transworld, and he was just, I knew him through going to the races for Verb and through everybody, just like a mutual friend or friend in the industry. And he's like, hey, you need to apply for this job, because Brandon Lutz was the long-term photo editor at Transworld. Super talented. Like he's went on to do amazing work in video, and he does a bunch of cool stuff now. But I looked at his work and I'm like, I'm going to apply for his job. And he's like, trust me, just apply. So he's like, do you know how to do video? I'm like, I don't. He's like, okay, just lie. Like, just say you do.
Dude,
and then pick up a camera and start learning.
I love that.
So that at that point, I had met my now wife, Isabel, who she only knew me as the automotive guy that was into photo. And it was funny, like right after we started dating, I think I bought a brand new camera. I bought the 300 millimeter. I spent like a lot of money. And she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, this isn't normal. Like I've been saving for these for a while. But she quickly, I mean, she knew how passionate I was, but she saw me go from automotive guy to Transworld.
Making your dreams come true. How special it's to like that you guys got to like meet like in this previous life that you had, and like you're an auto mechanic and she's like working in the coffee industry, and then like she got to witness your dreams unfolding in front of you. I think that's so special.
Oh, it's so cool. I think that, and I was 30 at that time. So that's like, I tell people who are in their 20s, like, oh, I got to figure it out. I'm like, no. Like my whole entire life came together when I was 30. Like everything I did in the past, like skateboarding life, my motocross life, everything combined when I landed at Transworld. And I remember like we moved to Carlsbad from Oakland for that job, and we got a little studio apartment. And I'm working at Transworld, and I'm just like, how is this possible? Like, this is crazy.
That must have felt crazy.
It was cool. And like the skateboarder in me, like there's a skate park there
At your work.
Yeah. And it was insane. And that was just looking back on that time, like that building of people is just talent, like up the wazoo, like surfer magazines, snowboarder magazine, bike magazine. I'm surrounded by like incredible photographers, incredible editors. So I soaked that job up like sponge too.
That's like I talked to Salema Masakela. He's like a legend in action sports.
Yeah, he's a dude.
He started out as an intern at Transworld, and he had the same kind of story. He's like I got there and it's just like, wow, like I can't believe I'm in this world.
Yeah,
it's such a cool place.
Yeah.
And that must have been such an exciting time in your life to like feel like, you escaped the normal 9 to 5 and you fell into this new world that you're very passionate about, that's creative, and like you're at like the best magazine in the industry and you're the photo editor at that magazine.
And I'm like not qualified. Like, let's be honest, a guy that went to school for automotive, do I know enough about like photo editing? Really? Like I knew how to edit my own photos, but like I learned so much about print, about, CMYK. I learned about what creates a good book, I loved it. And I think I was a great person for that job. But looking back, like I never thought I was going to get that job.
But dude, Kinman gave you the best advice of your life. Just lie.
Yeah.
Not in a deceitful way, but fake it until you make it.
But I learned video.
Yeah, you can learn.
Yeah. Do you know how to do it? Oh yeah. And then what was I doing in my backyard? I was shooting video with Isabel, like, and our dog, like shooting, just learning how to learning settings, and like even going back to Verb. Like I remember Wes, like shout out to him. He helped me learn video, like audio settings, and I would just remember everything he said, like just
How
different
cool to have
things.
like friends like that you could go to and
Yeah, and I
get
think
help.
you know, in the moment, he's just telling me what to do just for a quick GoPro video. But in my head, I'm like, oh, that's how you do it. That's like, and he's so gnarly at video.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
amazing.
So it's just cool, like crazy amount of people that have molded where I am today. Yeah, Transworld was a dream gig landed because the magazine so artistic. I think it was really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. I miss Transworld. I remember even just being a designer in the industry. Like whenever I'd see like one of the ads that I put together in Transworld, I was always so proud.
Yeah.
And I must have felt really cool too, like being like this kid coming up through the industry, going from like shooting photos from the stands to being on the cover like almost every month.
Yeah, and
of,
that was like
of like
trip.
the coolest magazine of its time.
And to me, like a cover shot was like a dream goal. And now I think we were talking about print earlier, like you still have Racer X, and I don't think Racer X is going away. I think they're so embedded in it, and they understand how important print is.
They're so core to the culture of motorcycle racing, moto. Yeah.
But I think to land my first cover on Transworld, and I knew in the back of my head, eventually that must happen, right? I'm the photo editor. Don's eventually going to throw me a bone and I'm going to shoot a cover. So that's a story in itself. If you want to hear this, like,
yeah, I would love to hear that story.
I was, we would have like editorial meetings, you know, to plan the issue. He's like, all right, this one's going to be a Chad Reed cover story, and a feature. He's like, Mike, I want you to shoot that. And I'm like, holy shit, Chad Reed, like it's intimidating guy. You know what I mean? Like if you've worked with Chad, I'm sure.
I mean, kind of. Yeah.
He's one of the greats, you know? So for me to kind of be like, okay, it's go time. And I took it so serious. Like back then, it's not like skateboarding where, my knowledge of like a cover would be like, what's the craziest trick or what's the most amazing photo that came out of that month to land on the cover of a magazine. It's sort of a different approach. Whereas Transworld, it's like, hey buddy, you're going to go shoot a cover. And it's like, okay, so let me put my big boy pants on.
There's like a whole new level of pressure going into it.
Yeah. And I remember I had, at the time I was using Einstein lights that are these pretty finicky triggers, like pocket wizards, where you almost would have to rub magic crystals together to get them to work. And I just remember being like, I hope these things work to shoot this with Chad. So I show up at the Yamaha track. He was on Yamaha at the time. And I always, to the first cover I've ever shot with him, I said, Chad, hey, do you have anything that you would think would be cool for the cover? Like we were envisioning a knack. I don't know if you want to do a knack or like, do you have anything? Cause I think there's two parts to the equation. It's the photo and obviously the rider. Some of the guys definitely don't care. They're like, yeah, whatever. Other guys would have input, like Ken Roxon. We could go into that, but Ken Roxon would always be super into it. Like he thought it was cool just as much as the end product as I did. But anyways, so Chad, he's like, yeah, that sounds good. And I was like, is there any jump? Like, is a triple good or is the finish line double? I said, I'm going to set up some lights. So whenever you're ready, he's like, yeah, let's do the finish line double. So I set 2 strobes up and I'm just kind of like ready, and it's Chad. So he's going to do his own thing. He's testing and, just kind of was waiting for him to do a knack. It wasn't like, hey Mike, we're going to go do this knack now. He was testing.
He was just doing laps.
And I had to shoot a feature too. So I was shooting him doing his laps, shooting him like B-roll. And then all of a sudden he gets done with his moto and I see him go hit this double and start to throw a knack. And I was like, oh, it's time, I guess. Like I better get my shit together. So I think he did like maybe 5 without talking to me. Just like, did knack.
He's like, you better get it now.
Dude, talk about like, better get it. He did like 5, pulls off the track, goes back up to the truck. And then I was like, shit, like I was stressing, but I got the photo I needed. But in my head, I visualized like, you know how you have the vision And then the reality is whatever you're going to get.
It's never quite what you have in your head. That's one of the things that makes a good photographer, is being able to adapt
The
to
moment, yeah.
the moment and the environment and
And
the
to throw
situation.
away your vision. Like if you had a dream vision, be ready to like toss it out the window and deal with whatever you dealt with in that moment. But yeah, I went back up. He's debriefing with the team. Like to him, the cover shoot was like the least of his importance that day. You know what I mean? Like he's been on the cover of how many magazines. So to me, he has no idea this is like such a moment for me. But I walked back up to where he was sitting there. He's like, "Hey, did you get a good one?" He's like, "It's kind of sketchy for knack-knacks today." I was like, "Oh yeah, I got a good one." Like I was all like just making him feel confident. I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And in my head, I'm just like, hope that I'm not giving Shane Kinman a whole work, I hope it's not an art directed cover more than anything. But that was the story. And it was just so high pressure, like to me. And Chad, he was cool. He didn't do anything. You know what I mean? He just was on his own. He was testing. He didn't.
Yeah, he's focused on the job.
And that's another thing with moto. I think people have these visions of how it works. And man, these guys are so serious. They don't care about your photo a lot of times. They really are so locked in.
They get press all day long. They don't need it.
No.
They're focused on winning.
Yeah, he wanted to test. And
Yeah.
he did like 5 to 8 knack-knacks, maybe, I want to say. And I shot him. Luckily, my strobes fired. Everything worked. But yeah, that was when that magazine came, though, man, like me and my now wife, like Isabel and I were just like, this is crazy. Yeah.
Full circle, man. Did the photos come out good? Like they were crisp? And
I can show you. Yeah, they were crisp. Like I sort of don't like, I'm not a fan of like guy in the sky photos. I just find them, I want something to give you context. And the Yamaha test track is almost the most scenic track of all of those, like 5 tracks right there, because they have the mountains in the background. So in my head, I'm picturing like maybe something to show you besides the knack. And in the frame that we used, there was a little bit of a mountain maybe, but the cover ended up being sort of like, it said Back in Blue, I think, or Deja Blue. And Shane did a killer job with it. But it's just funny. Like I was so under pressure that day. Like I just remember driving away from there being like, it's cool.
There's a really good feeling though when you have pressure going into a shoot, and then when you leave and you got it, it's like such a weight off.
Oh yeah. And it's like, I still feel that to this day at races. Like we shoot for Honda, and I mean, Jet and Hunter just finished 1 and 2 in the title. And on a championship day, like say Unadilla this year, I'm like, here we go. Like we got a job to
Better
do.
get this.
Yeah. And you want to do a good job for yourself too, like
Yeah.
you have the must haves in the photo checklist, and then you can get creative for yourself and for the culture of the sport. But I still get those nerves, anyone who doesn't, I think they're lying.
It's a lot harder to shoot an event than it is to shoot like a controlled environment. Like when you're doing a poster shoot with Chad Reed, it's limited, but at least you get 5 knack-knacks.
Yeah, and we're on a private track.
When Jet's at the race, that moment only happens once.
And he only does, like, say in qualifying, we have to shoot qualifying pictures for Honda. He doesn't put that many fast laps in. I mean, that dude will take a cruise lap. You better get him on a fast lap, because he'll put 1 or 2 in, and he's got the fast lap. He doesn't need to do anymore. So it's kind of learning to work around the event.
Yeah, it's a whole strategy in itself that I want to get into. But looking back, like leading up to this big break at Transworld, it took a lot of sacrifice to get there. What kind of sacrifices did you have to make along the way? I think it's good context for people to know that like it doesn't just happen.
Oh man, like not, my weekends weren't weekends. I went and worked, and I sacrificed. I mean, I didn't have a girlfriend. That's something, whether it's a big sacrifice for some or not. Didn't have a girlfriend, just was head down grinding. But I loved
free
it.
Time.
Yeah, no free time. I spent all my time editing and working and shooting, and I shot some skating, landscape stuff around the Bay Area. Like I would just shoot. Like I was just like shooter. Like still like to do that stuff. Life's busier now, but I think sacrificing just the normal life that people have. Hey, it's Friday. You want to go? You want to go to the bar? No, I'm going to drive to SoCal.
Like having balance in your life, you have to sacrifice that for a little. You don't want to do that long term, but like
No, I think everybody has a moment in their life where there's a opportunity to sort of put away all the distractions and take a stab at something, whether it's professionally or even if it's a hobby. If someone might be a really good motocross racer and they have a window of time that they want to pursue to turn pro, and that they have to be selfish too.
Yeah, and I feel like everybody has a time in their life where if you want to make it, you gotta sprint.
Mhm.
Like you gotta
Yeah.
really charge.
Yeah. And I feel like the sprint sort of hasn't ended either. I think that's testament of like anyone in this industry, yourself included. You're doing this podcast. You're always pushing if you're into it. If you have a passion for what you're doing, nothing is easy nowadays.
No, it's a
Everybody
grind.
wants to do it. And I think you have to have that hard work ethic, but talent, work, all that stuff. And
Mhm. Especially the content world and the media world. It's like a never ending beast that you have to feed. It's and speaking of like the never ending thing, you during race season, you're going to like every single race.
yeah,
And
that's something that started with a line. And I never was an every race guy. I sort of didn't picture myself doing that because I was really into the storytelling. And that's why Transworld was such a cool job, because I had to shoot races, but we had a staff of like, a few different editors that were capable of going to the race. So I would go to, Anaheim 1 or California rounds. And then,
do more editorial stuff.
yeah, I would go do a story with so-and-so or local thing with whoever. But I love that stuff, like storytelling. I would shoot bikes, like for the article called Spanner, whereas like you would interview the mechanic. I would shoot the bikes, and me being like a mechanical person, I really enjoyed that, talking to them because they have so much pride in the bikes. And it was a unique way for me to learn how to shoot strobe stuff, static. So all Transworld taught me so much stuff to get me where I am today, and commercially too.
Now that you're not doing as much of that editorial stuff, how do you stay, with the repetitive routine of doing the races every weekend? How do you stay motivated and inspired?
I think that goes back to like skipping to a line, being surrounded by talented people and having always shooting for myself at the end of the day. Like, I don't care if you need the tight punched in shot that everybody uses for an ad. That's very boring. It's cool, but it's boring to me sometimes. A guy throwing a whip. It's just, the shots I'm talking about. They're very standard as far as art goes, but they're the ones
That's what
that
the brands want.
That's what they want. So, balancing that,
Like capturing that, covering all your bases.
yeah, you have to cover the bases, and then I I shoot for me, and luckily people like that. Like, I think it's obviously I know what people will hopefully like, but at the end of the day, I'll get a new lens, or I'll get something and I'll be like, oh, I want to do this idea or anything, or let's just say like going back to a championship day, like if I can tell a story if I can give somebody the feeling of how Jet feels through photos during that day, like he might not show much emotion, but like when he does, I hope I get that. And that's like when
Those
you nail
moments are
that,
magic, man.
it's so hard to nail, but it's like once you do, and sometimes you miss it, it's hard. You're at a live event. But yeah, I think like always chasing that story, which brings you back to editorial, and that translates to good work, I think.
Yeah, when you can tell a meaningful story in an image, it's so cool. And it's like kind of a tightrope walk when you're at an event like we talked about, and you only have one opportunity to catch this, and you have to cover your bases. There's not a lot of room in there for you to experiment and like
Not much.
be creative, but it's cool that you can kind of like squeeze that in as well.
Yeah, and it helps having a team, and that's like, we can talk about how line came to be.
Yeah,
like,
I
I'd love
want
to talk
to.
about that. But to summarize, it's like I have Adam Merrow with me. He's my main shooter shooting photo. There's two of us, so that was kind of like a huge like weight off of my back. I'm not a solo guy, so
You know that if you missed something, most likely the other dude got
Exactly.
it.
Or you can try a fisheye supercross main event finish line photo that might be a little bit wacky or might be cool. And you know that, say, we'll talk about it. Hey,
Yeah, you'll plan ahead. Be like,
yeah.
hey, I'm gonna try something different. Make sure you get the safe shot.
And if that different shot comes out, if that's the one that people are like, dude, and you wouldn't do that if you didn't have a second shooter.
And if not, at least you have the backup
Yeah.
photo.
Or you try it. It's way better than not trying. And there's a lot of that limitation. But yeah, I don't know.
And you're shooting such high volume at these races because
crazy.
there's all these riders. There's so many different, you know, qualifying and heat races and main events and in the pits and on the podium. And there's how do you balance the idea of like quality versus quantity? Do you ever feel like you're sacrificing quality, chasing the quantity?
It's a balancing act, and it leads to burnout. I mean, like I'd be lying if I said I didn't get burnout sometimes on the races. This year I'm not, it's weird. But I think sort of approaching each weekend with a different, maybe creative goal, or you have a vision of a shot that might be, maybe it's a portrait, or maybe it's using a different lens that I don't usually use, or bringing a macro lens, or just like something to create. I think that's the only way. And I like going back to Simon. I remember watching him just grind, and he's like,
He's a machine.
he's a machine. Like to this day, there's nobody that can do it like him. Like he could roll into Supercross and still just, he's like a beast. It's cool. And same with Rich Shepherd. Like I'll talk about him too with the line, but learning so much from those two. Rich was shooting for Simon before we teamed up for a line, but taking like notes from how they do it, be like, wow, you're cranking out work. Like, I don't even think I could do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I don't think I can physically even replicate what you're doing, let alone stay creative. So like to this day, I've learned a whole bunch, and I can do that workload, but it's like, sometimes you have weekends where like, that was like nothing special for me. I don't, you get the job done, but you're like,
You didn't feel that creative inspiration.
yeah, and it's 31 races a year. I mean, how can you nail it every time in your brain? Sometimes you nail it, and other times you're like, I know I did the job, but I didn't.
Well, and at the end of the day, like it's a job and you're feeding your family, and some weekends it's just going to be work.
But like other people might think those photos are amazing. You know how it is as an artist or creative? You're just like missing that one magic shot that you're like, that's the one from the weekend that I really like.
I think like a normal moto fan is going to like look at your work and be stoked on just because they love the sport and stuff. But you as like a creative, you're looking for like, what's different? What makes this
Or
this
just that one
photo
shot,
special?
that
Yeah.
one special moment that you captured, or say it was a really difficult pan shot, or something that shows how Jet moves his body, or
Just the energy or the
Yeah.
story or the victory.
yeah, like if you're able to capture that, like A plus, like that's so cool. And that's what I look for, in the youngsters. Like I look for kids that are doing that different, you know what I'm saying? Like probably what everyone's looking for, but like who's doing more than just that simple, oh, I got it in frame. Cool. It's sharp. That's cool. But like, I want to see that story. Like, tell me the story.
Right. And there's that balance though of like, these younger kids making stuff that might be cool for Instagram, but doesn't have a lot of legs beyond that. Or
Mhm.
might be like trendy in the moment, but
Yeah.
doesn't have that timeless element of like the photo that you'll see in 20 years and be like, that's an iconic image.
Yeah. And it's like, and thinking about this is go back to the magazine, but thinking about how an art director from any brand, they don't want the dirt bike to fill the frame. They might need to put text, or there might need to be a page break. Like, so that's that print. I still use that print mindset.
Yeah. Like maybe if it's right in the center, that's not what the designer is going to want.
Yeah, how can you put that into an ad? Like if you look at the internet, you have banner ads, you have small ads. So it's like remembering like dirt bikes are cool, and they look cool when they're in your face, but also like a small ride or big landscape is amazing if you can pull that off, especially at a race.
It's back to like that skateboarding and like, and what you said initially is like, you like a little bit of context that tells the story, not just a
That's
guy
what-
in the sky.
To me, that's what like photography is. Like if you can, one photo can like move somebody, which is so cool. Like what a neat thing that is. And like video, I have such an appreciation for video because I think the opportunity to tell a story is so massive. But that then on the other side of the spectrum is photos, where it's like, oh, you could just stare at a photo and feel something that's like really special, which is like, that doesn't always happen. But when it does, it's pretty cool.
I love the simplicity of photography. Like video is really a really cool medium because there's so much that you can do with it and so much like emotion and story that you can convey through video.
So much, yeah.
Like the simplicity of photography, it's just timeless. And it's like, it's something that like the image speaks for itself. Like video, a lot of times you have dialogue or music or like the action, whatever's happening is telling the story. It's like, it's that cliche, you know, the photos is worth 1,000 words.
It's so cool. Like when I see photos from people that I admire and I just, scrolling Instagram or even in print, whatever it is, like I can just sit there sometimes and just be like, damn, like I know how this person must have felt when they captured this, because you're maximizing, like you're making me feel what that was, which is like not easy to do.
What do you think's more important? Like capturing an image that's like aesthetically beautiful or capturing an image that like tells an interesting story?
I think there's a time and place for both. Like
yeah.
In moto, I think it's funny, like you balance that need for that punchy in your face action, but then some of the stuff, like some of the things that I'll shoot that I don't think anyone will care about it. And then it turns out that's like, whoa, that's a cool photo. And I'm like, wow, that's neat. Like recently there was a photo from Budds Creek with Joe Shimoda, like on a downhill. And it was like, yeah, with ruts. And
that's the photo I saw. I was scrolling Instagram one night. I was laying in bed scrolling Instagram and I was like, shit, dude, I need to talk to Emery.
That's so funny.
That photo.
Yeah.
Like he's an old friend. He's got a really cool eye for the sport. I'm like, I haven't talked to him yet.
I'm glad I posted it.
Yeah, exactly. Like that photo made me just be like, dude, we should do this.
That's sweet, man. I appreciate
that.
Funny
you brought that up.
But it's like that photo is not a really standard moto photo. The rider's really small. The photo is really the ruts. But if you look at it for long enough, you can picture where you might go, or you're like, I wonder where Deegan was. I wonder what line Deegan took. I wonder if Joe's in the right line. I wonder how horrible that must be to ride.
To me, that photo showed how gnarly the sport is.
And that doesn't happen at every track, right? And like, I just happened to see that and I was like, whoa. And across the whole track, I shot that. But in my head, I shot that and I thought it was cool in the moment. But posting it to Instagram almost gave me like that validation, which is like, I loathe Instagram for this, but I also love it. But all the people were like, man, that's a cool photo. And I'm like, that's so cool.
I was saying your gut. It's one of those things, you know it when you see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it's weird
when you just follow your gut. If you're like, oh, that's interesting, and you capture it, it's like you didn't put too much thought into it, but you just felt it.
And Joe appreciated the photo. Like
he did.
Yeah, he was like, dude, that is a badass photo. And I'm like, that's cool. Like when the rider thinks it's cool, because he's not thinking about how gnarly that is. I mean, he is in the moment, but he's in a race. But yeah, I think that's what you strive for, and I'm not striving for Instagram likes and follows. I mean, that's cool in its own world, but I think the reality of being able to move somebody by a photo or to show how badass dirt bikes are in motocross, like what a crazy sport. Like,
yeah,
we are so lucky to be able to capture it and like see that every weekend. And I wouldn't say I'm jaded, but I've seen everything in 10 years. We just had a race that was canceled from lightning.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But it's like to still be able to try to tell that story with the same passion, and the day that ends, you won't see me shooting because I don't want to fake it. I think like there's too many people that want that seat.
Yeah.
That I don't see that ending anytime soon.
Good, man. I mean, it's so lucky that you get to do something you're so passionate about. And like we said earlier, not every day is going to be good at the office. Not every day is going to be filled with inspiration. And if there's ever like periods of time where you're feeling less creative or inspired, do you ever step outside of like the profession and just shoot creatively for the fun of it, and just to find that inspiration outside of work?
Totally. I don't get as much time now to do that, which is like, it's you're full pinned. 31 weekends a year is a lot. And then to go do passion projects is sort of like hard sell to the wife when the wife and kids, we want to hang out on the weekend. But I shoot, I would say a lot of phone stuff, which is still photography. I ride my bicycle a lot. Always shooting photos of things and like always trying to find that passion for an image. And I was just recently riding like in a parking garage, and there was really cool light and just this one little light pocket. And I set my bike up and I spent like 10 minutes nerding out. And I'm like, look at what you're doing right now. Like shooting photos of a bicycle, like, but it's like, that tells you what you're doing, what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But I'd like to this off season. I'm feeling pretty fresh this year. Like last year, total different mind space. Like I probably wouldn't have even talked to you last year.
You're feeling a little more burnt out.
I was so burnt out, emotionally drained. I think like
Just a really busy year.
Not
tough,
in
the right mindset.
Yeah, tough mindset. Mental health wasn't good. I was really just ragged. I think like Align is 5 years old. I think starting a business, whether you do it with friends, which is what I did, and starting it that way, but like I think I want to be an advocate for mental health. I think like it's a good time to check up on yourself sometimes. Last year going into the finals, I was so burnt out. I was like, oh my gosh, 3 more races. Like, and in hindsight, like what a shame to feel like that, even though it happens to anybody. But I think like this year I'm so fresh, and I owe a lot of that to a full year of like really dedicating myself to feeling healthier and happier and finding time for myself. Like I was just embedded in my work,
So it's almost like taking the time to also remind yourself like what you're grateful for, and that you are lucky to do this, and that, and like
and staying like mentally sane. Like take time for yourself, like, and make sure that you like, I think to me, like, I don't get to ride motorcycles as much as I'd like. Like my wife bought me a TC 250 2 years ago, and I was riding. But like finding something that you can escape, whether it be a motorcycle, or lately with my schedule and my lifestyle, I've found like bicycling is really fun, and it's like mobile meditation.
you're like a road bike or a mountain bike.
A gravel bike, road bike. Yeah, there's so much cycling around here, and like sort of it used to be surfing in California. I would go out into the ocean and just surf, just whether you catch one wave or no waves or 5 waves.
Just being outside and being active.
Yeah,
is
and getting
so
away
good.
from your phone, maybe getting into nature. But moving back here to Pennsylvania was sort of a stark, like, oh man, what do I do? Because skateboarding, as I aged, I have a really bad knee. Like I need a knee replacement already. So skating isn't really as fun for me now. It hurts. But
You can't
can't surf here. I mean, you can. I can drive an hour and a half to New Jersey or further to Maryland and go put on a wetsuit, like a thick wetsuit, and surf in the winter, which to me is like snowboarding at that point. But yeah, I think I want to advocate for mental health and checking in on yourself and your friends. Like totally, like I'm a different person this year than I was last year. And that's so much thanks to my wife and support and just being like, hey, like, what do we need to do? And it's, you have to work on yourself, So I think that I want to advocate like for people. It's okay to not feel good, and you're going to get out of it, like on the other side of it.
And also it's like doing your own thing is not all like sunshine and rainbows.
No, it's hard.
Because people think like, oh, you work for yourself and you're around motocross and you just shoot photos and have fun.
Yeah. High five
Hang
all
out
the
with riders and like go on trips.
Yeah.
But like your work never, when you work for yourself, it never stops.
Yeah, and you're always worried the party's going to end.
Yeah.
Right?
There's
It's
a lot of
like-
stress. And it's a weird thing about life. The better you do, the more you fear that you're going to lose it.
It's funny. Yeah.
Me too. Like when I was 20 years old and I had nothing and I was just moving out to California to work at Answer Racing as a designer with no experience and no money, I wasn't worried about anything. And now the more success and I've found through my life, the more credibility I have in the industry, the more I've built my own thing,
Yeah.
the more afraid I am to lose it.
Yeah,
And
but me looking, like, it's funny, that's you. And it's like from the outside looking in, you're like, oh, solid, and that's why I think going back to that stuff, like we live in a world where you go on your phone, you go on Instagram, everything's sunshine and rainbows. Everything's great. Everything's awesome. Everything's beautiful.
I'm just waiting for the house of cards to fall down.
Yeah, me too. And but I think that's like going back to that, checking in on yourself and doing things for the right reasons, whether it's like, that's why my approach to social media, I think I'm not as all over that. And that's just because it's overwhelming to me. I think it's okay to think that. I think a lot of people are overwhelmed by social media. And that's not, I think it's amazing for a lot of reasons. And I think it's tough. It's not a realistic thing to look at every day. Like, I worry for my kids, like the reality of life is not as easy as it looks on Instagram. So I think just, no, I don't know where I'm going with that, but it's sort of like checking in on yourself and really knowing what you're after and if you're in it for the right motives and things like that.
I want to give a shout out to a really special partner of mine. I've been working with 805 Beer for close to a decade now. And honestly, it's more than just a beverage company to me. It's a symbol of a lifestyle that I believe in. 805 was born on the central coast of California, the 805, a place where life moves to the rhythm of surf, moto, music, and open roads. Whether you're out riding, jamming with friends, or just soaking in the last light of the day, 805 is right there with you. It's not about hype, it's about living fully and embracing every moment. But what makes 805 truly special is their commitment to sustainability. They've been brewing for generations and relentlessly focused on preserving the land that they call home, conserving water, reducing waste, and protecting what matters, the land where we live and play. They support the raddest events and the sickest athletes. But most importantly, they support the culture. That's why 805 has become a staple in my life. Man, I pray for the day when, I just started this podcast business. I'm just doing it all on my own for now. I can't wait for the day where I can hire someone to help me with social, because like posting content every day and keeping up on that is such a grind.
It's gnarly. Yeah, and you do a good job with it. Like I was following you before you talked to me, and I was like, man, that's cool. Like very well done. So
thanks,
man.
Yeah.
It's definitely noticeable how much effort you're putting into it.
It's more of a grind than you'd think. One of the things I was excited about, like doing a podcast, is I'm like, oh, maybe the workload will be a little bit less than it was like making a magazine.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, especially on your end.
Yeah. Like, dude, it feels like just as much work.
Yeah. But it's the same passion, right? And it's new. So you're doing
new
to you. It's something that you're building up, and you'll probably look back on this time,
the grind, the
years
sprint.
from now, you'll be like, man, that's crazy. And it's all great memories.
Yeah. Once I have some support, I'll be like, oh, the good old days when I was driving around by myself making this thing happen.
I know. But yeah, it's crazy where life brings you, like, to.
Speaking of like where life brings you, you found your dream job at Transworld.
Yeah.
And like couldn't believe where you're at. You had all these incredible opportunities, and then eventually the magazine shut down. Did that come as a surprise to you?
Or it did. It blindsided the team. But also not. It's hard to explain. Like print, it's an industry that's not thriving. It's like, so to put into perspective, one of my best friends I live with, he worked with LED lighting. And his job was like the opposite of mine. Like LED lighting at the time, everybody, converting to LED, and the sales are just through the roof. And he is working at a startup and crazy, you know what I mean? Like trajectory. And I'm at a magazine, and I'm like, every meeting they would have like town hall meetings at Transworld, where it's like all the titles come in. I can't think of almost one meeting that was like positive in the end, like, hey, we're, budgets are tough and this and that. But out of all the titles, Transworld Moto was really doing pretty well, because the industry is pretty healthy, and there's a lot of things to sell when it comes to dirt bikes. You have your gear, tires,
a lot of brands involved,
and it's a pretty healthy industry considering. So that, in that perspective, we weren't really like worried. We thought that they might slash some titles, or we would maybe go from 12 months a year to 6. But we go into this meeting, and we knew it was one of those meetings where it's like, okay. And they like dropped the bomb on us where they were like, yeah, they don't want to move forward with the title. And I remember everyone was just like, seriously, like we went from thinking we were going to have a normal meeting with maybe some hard news to just like literally none of us had jobs. And it was like, I felt so bad for Don Maeda and the lifers there. Like I was a few years in, and just everyone who built that brand, I just remember looking at Don and just
He must
being
have been
like,
crushed.
yeah. And I felt so bad. Like to me, selfishly, I don't know if in my head, I was loving that job and I was going to stay there and cruise, but I didn't know where my life was going to take me. I wasn't a trans world lifer by any means, but also like I learned so much. So I give so much credit to that place. But again, like you said, I did not expect to be unemployed. And I had a 3-month-old son at the time.
Oh, wow. That's
so
a whole new level of pressure.
Yeah. And I was like, holy shit. So that was also a huge, like,
lit a fire under your ass.
Yeah. But it was like, whether I was going to leave trans world in 5 years or 3 years, or who knows, or maybe I would have stayed. But I was like, well, time to put on your big boy pants and start to figure it out and see if you can do I have to pick up wrenches again and start working on cars, which I didn't think I would, but maybe. And I just started, I got a lot of support from the industry. People would reach out. I did some Red Bull work. I did so much writing.
Were you trying to like go freelance, or were people just reaching out?
People were reaching out, just giving me some opportunities. And I think like that I was lucky that I did the body of work that I did while I was there, which goes back to like maximizing the opportunity. I never mailed it in there. Like I tried my ass off at that job.
One thing I love about you is like you've never taken it for granted.
No,
like every time you get a cover, you like share that and you have like gratitude for it. I think that's so cool.
And I think it's like, yeah, that's cool you say that. I think like I'm geeked. But at Transworld, I would be geeked just to see what Shane Kinman would do with my photos. Like, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see what he comes up with. Because like, to me, that's the dream, is to see the end goal, whether that show, whether you envisioned it like that, or, you know what I mean? If I can meet a rider and tell their story and really portray where they're at in life, I just did my job. And that's how I became friends with guy like Ken Roxon. I remember meeting him. This is how Transworld worked. It's like, hey, you're going to go do a feature with Ken Roxon. Okay, cool. I know him like almost nothing just from the races, right? But I'm going to now spend a day with him, and he doesn't know me. I don't know him. So it's so fun. Like, I remember messaging Courtney, his wife, because I knew her through, I think she worked at Wasserman at the time. I knew her a little bit, and he wasn't messaging me back. So I flew like from California to Florida, and I'm like, I'm here to do a feature with Ken Roxon, and he was winning the outdoor title at the time. And I'm like, he's not texting me back. Like, what do I do? So I texted Courtney through Instagram or something. And I'm like, hey, can you make sure you tell Kenny to text me? Cause I'm like supposed to shoot with him tomorrow. So stuff like that, where you're like on these missions, and he lets me into his world for a day, and I'm become
like friends.
Yeah, you become friends, but and really I want to do my job to show how badass he is in that moment, or what can I do to show what he's doing at home or whatever. So that was to me like the pinnacle of fun at the time, and seeing them, if it's a cover, like, wow, that's cool. Like, what will Shane do with this? Cause he would be like that final, he could either put lipstick on a pig,
yeah,
or he could take a great photo and make it that much better.
Yeah.
Which is like, that as a designer.
Dude, that's so cool. What a fun period in life. I mean, I think we'll always miss the magazine days, because like, that was such a special era in the sport.
Yeah, you guys cranked out a bunch of amazing.
Yeah, but dude, content. we were only quarterly. Like,
yeah,
dude, I don't know how you guys put a magazine out every month.
It's so nuts.
It's such a grind.
Yeah. And I don't think people realize that. Like, I think of like a newspaper too, like bring it another level, like a daily editorial, like that's nuts to me. And that's not as art driven, obviously, but yeah, monthly magazines. I remember coming up with ideas, and this is another thing that I tell one of my best friends, Dave. He shoots photos. But I told him, I'm like, working at a magazine also teaches you, sometimes you don't have a great idea for a story. So if you're a really creative photographer and you can write, dude, go do a story and pitch it. Like
Yeah. They always need content.
There's way more opportunity than people think. And that it may be far-fetched in your head. Like no one's going to look at this.
They're desperate for content. If someone pitches a good idea with some good words,
really
and
good
images,
it's like,
dude, yeah, we'll run that.
Home run, right? For everybody.
Yeah.
It's like, and I think that, you know, that kind of mentality is like important for younger kids. There's way bigger of a world than Instagram. And I think, trying to figure out where you want to go and how to get there.
That's like my buddy Tyler Ravel. He's a photographer.
Yeah, I met him at Outliers or at Red Bull.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah, he's a really cool dude.
He's just like a up and coming aspiring photographer and just started submitting work to me, and his work was great. And I'm like, wow,
right?
It's like amazing. And I ran, a couple articles that like he shot, and the next thing you know, he's working full time in the industry.
Yeah,
it's like
I listened to his
that initiative.
I listened to his episode. That was cool. Like talking about working in an oil rig and all that.
Yeah, crazy,
gnarly.
Yeah,
and that's again like going back to it. Like I think everyone should have a really shitty job.
Yeah, dude, I worked construction when I was younger, like with my stepdad in Colorado in the winter when it's like 0 degrees outside, and you're like running wires through a house. And just thinking like, this is not what I want to do with
No. And it's like the worst day that I have, like say it's a mud race. Sometimes mud races are just miserable. And you're like, dude, that's way cooler than getting oil spilled all over you while changing oil. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So it's keeping that perspective. And I think anyone that I work with, I always try and keep it fun and keep it really light, like let's have some fun while we do this. And if you're working with me, chances are, I'm going to believe in what you're doing. I don't need to tell you what to do. Like go do what you're doing,
Yeah, that's nice.
Letting people be creative.
Yeah. Giving people a little bit of free range to like do what they do. That's important.
It's like with video, like at a line, like I have Chris Post, who's like crushes video. He's so talented. Like don't even have to think about what he's doing. And he's such a cool kid, and he has such a good, unique eye, that is just so fun to watch him. Like, what am I going to tell him to do?
Yeah.
Like, I can't do that job.
Well,
like, I know
what him for a reason.
Yeah. It's let people do what they're good at.
Yeah.
And then
you tell him what you need.
Yeah. He knows there's a task at hand.
They know how to do it.
Yeah. And that's like, to me, the most fun part, that I'm embracing more than ever is like, I have such a cool team. So we have so much fun. Like, it's like, what a lucky life.
Yeah. So Transworld comes to an end. You have a moment where you're considering like, okay, what do I do next?
Yeah.
I always have automotive as a backup.
Which is cool. That's a great backup.
Yeah.
Never hated working on cars.
Right.
Like what a lucky backup, really.
And you're getting some like freelance photo work, which is amazing. What then inspired Align? Like what inspired this idea of like coming together with other photographers to make something new?
It was kind of a moment of like, so at the time, Simon had been, ask anyone who shoots all these races, it is a grind. Simon did it solo for years. I mean, like how he did that. He's the reason why social media, like he would have his iPad. He's got the guy wins the race. He's posting that to Instagram. He was the first people to do that. Him and Guy B from Vital. And I remember, he was pretty much overdoing that by himself. So he hired Rich Shepard, and he was doing some of his work for him, and those guys were working together. I was always really good friends with Rich, good friends with Simon. Simon was like a mentor to me. I would reach out to him all the time with things like, hey, this company wants to buy this photo. What should I charge them? You know what I mean? Like he would be like, hey, thanks for asking. Like, I think that this would be fair.
I think that's cool on your part too, so that you're not undercutting them and like
wants to be that
devaluing the whole industry.
Yeah. Where's my job going to be if I'm giving it out for free? And I think that
well, then where's his job going to be? Because
exactly.
Everyone's going to go to you, and you're not going to get paid, and then nobody's getting paid.
Yeah, it turns into just no good for anybody. So I think it's important for younger people to always remember, know your value, and also like find somebody that you can mentor and just lean on for a little information here and there. I think that's mega. Like I want people like bang on my door if you have questions. Like it's a rising tide lifts all ships. Like, but yeah. So Simon and Rich were working together. I did a year of like random freelance stuff. I was doing so much writing. That's another thing. Like Swiss Army knife. Not even like I was writing articles for Weisco. Like, dude, I've done so much work that no one knows about because
Before the chat GBT days, man, you could have used
I know
that.
I could have crushed. But yeah, I was doing like written articles for Weisco, do you remember that Red Bull project that Robbie Madison and Tyler Bierman rode through LA? They like did a bunch of stuff. I was like, they brought me in to help like storyboard that a little bit. And like, they were like, hey, we want to, um, just have you help us along with this process or the project. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like, and they paid me a flat fee to help from the concept to what it became. And I didn't shoot a single photo. You know what I mean? And to me, I was like, that's so cool. And I didn't really talk. I'm not a big, like, tell everyone what I'm doing type of guy. So that's another thing. I think being able to take an opportunity, you don't need to tell everyone that you wrote a story about this random person for Weisco Piston. It doesn't have to be a glorious job. And I liked what I did, but I wasn't like excited to be like, hey guys, check out this 500 word.
You have to be selective about what you showcase as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's great to get the opportunities and you're thankful for them, but like your portfolio should represent like maybe the aspirational type of work you want to continue doing.
Yeah. And I think I was just paying the bills, but I don't trade that stuff for the world either. But do I want to write now? Like, no, I'm good. I'd rather shoot photos. Like, so, but I spent like a year, a little over a year probably, and I would shoot. Rich was so pivotal with the line thing because he's like, why don't you? He was getting tired of doing it by himself because he would go and place for Simon, and he was doing all this high pressure work solo like Simon was. And he's like, dude, I want to do this with somebody else. He's like, you should come shoot with me. So I came out to a race and I think we shot like a Vegas finale or something. And we had so much fun. Like,
it just makes it easier for everyone.
Yeah. It's
more
like
sustainable.
Enjoyable. Yeah, totally sustainable. And like, you can, like, I have days where I'm like, dude, I'm so tired. I need you to carry the boat a little bit here today, Adam.
So smart to work together rather than everybody being out there independently.
Yeah.
It's burning fun. The candle at both ends.
Yeah, it's fun to work with people. Like, that's, to me, is the most fun part about a line. So I went out to a race or two, and I think Rich sort of had to sell Simon on it because Simon was like, well, you're already doing it. You know what I mean? Like, why do you need Mike? And then he's like, let's just do it a couple times to see. And the product was like really good because I was shooting different stuff than he was, and he was shooting the must-haves, and I was getting really artsy. So it was just like a good combo. And then the conversation of like, hey, we should all do this together. And then I was like, okay, maybe this is the next step. So we spent a year, basically like 6 months to a year, like really figuring it out. And that was how Line was born. Rich came up with the name, which is cool. And then we sort of were like, okay, let's do this. Let's pool together. Simon had a pretty big body of work that he had a huge
Was he
clientele.
still shooting races, or was it?
He was shooting like not as much. Like Rich was doing a lot of it. And then we would pool together and we sort of were like, hey, Simon's going to shoot this many races. I'm going to shoot it. Like Rich and I were going to be the muscle. Simon was going to still shoot, but he brought all the clients. You know what I mean? So he brought a lot of that to it. And it worked out really cool. And like we launched at Anaheim 1 2020 in COVID year, which is like heck of a year to launch a company. But I think we took everyone by surprise. Like sort of not many people knew we were going to do it. And then I put a shit ton of work into our Instagram and making it look good. So when we launched, there was like a landing page for people to go to and sort of see what we were all about. And I think we did taking our time and not just like starting it was a really crucial kind of key moment. And it was well received.
It's cool. You've almost like built a brand around what you're doing too.
That's kind of the goal. The brand to me would be to create amazing things with friends, right? Like, and like, I love working with talented people that we can bring in here and there, like like my wife she's like a big part of the business too. She does a lot of the accounting and billing. And so she's just as hard at it as me. Sometimes she's like, why do you want to bring this guy in? And I'm like, he's badass. Like, I just want to work with this guy, and I'll hire somebody to do video. Like Like Jack Clark this year at Budds Creek, he comes from mountain bike and he's just super talented kid. Don't know him at all. I just know him through Instagram. Chris Post, who does video, he knows him through Instagram. All just mutual admiration of each other's work. And Jack, I was like, hey, why don't you come? He wanted to shoot a national. I was like, why don't you come to Budds Creek? Like, so we got him out. And then he ended up shooting and editing just like a reel for us. But it was so cool to see what he did. And it's like, did I need him to be there? No. But it's like, it's just chasing that feeling. Like I watched and letting someone that's creative, like stretch their legs, be like, dude, what? You're from mountain bike, come shoot moto. I want to see what you do. And what he did was so cool. Like, and that's just one person that I've been lucky to work with, you know?
That's so fun to collaborate with other.
And you've done that through
people.
Meta.
Yeah.
You know? Endless times.
Dude, like unbelievably creative.
Yeah.
People. It's so impressive.
It makes you feel like sometimes I'm like, damn, I'm not that creative when I meet people. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're like, wow, this person's really next level.
Yeah, it's insane.
Or it makes you feel stale.
Yeah. It's fun. It's always fun though to find those maybe undiscovered photographers or filmmakers that like have a really amazing work that just hasn't been out there yet, and like work with them and like show their work to the world.
Oh, it's
I
so
really
cool.
love that.
Yeah, you're able to do that through Meta in
so many
cool ways.
So many people.
Yeah, but going back to the Align thing, we launched. Simon was at the time. He was a part of Upshift Online. Remember that?
Yeah,
and that's still going. But he was.
Is it?
I think so. He was part of that. He was part of Align. He sort of was like, damn, I kind of bit off a little more than I think I could chew. Like, and he didn't want to shoot. He was like, I still don't want to shoot.
He was really
shoot less races.
He was really enjoying the adventure riding.
Yeah, and I thought that was so cool.
I don't blame him.
It's amazing. Like I look at the trips he goes on still, and I'm like, dude, get me on one of those. Like,
hey, get me off the Supercross track. Let me go to Iceland and ride a dirt bike.
Yeah, and I think like that's so cool that he was able to like he turned a passion. He got into adventure biking, and like he's like, damn, I want to do this. Like, and he's like, well, I already know how to shoot photos, and he's turned into this that business model. So throughout that, he sort of decided a year later to kind of step back. Him and Upshift sort of parted ways, and he was like, he started what now is Off-Road Underground, and that's another version sort of the same concept. He goes on trips, does content, and he's still doing it. So he sort of pulled back from Align, and then at the same time, Rich,
he's still attached to it though.
Yeah, at this time he's not. Like
okay.
he works. If he's ever going to shoot a race, he's with me and with Align. But him, myself, and Rich were the three, and then sort of Simon stepped back, and he was still going to shoot a couple races. And then at the end of that year, Rich and I were going to kind of buy him out of his part of it, basically, because he brought all these clients and everything. So business-wise, started as three of us, and it's sort of two of us.
You and Rich now.
And Rich, yeah. And then Rich, man, he's had a hard deck of cards dealt. He had some health stuff that he went through. So
he had to take a step back.
Yeah, he had to take a step back, and he overcame. That guy has some great human with bad luck. He got hit by a bike, like pretty gnarly at I can't remember the round, but he got hit by a stray bike at a Supercross, totally in ICU for 3 days, like gnarly. And then I don't know if it was through that or something else, they kind of found out he had some health stuff going on. He had
cancer or something.
Yeah, lymphoma stuff.
And they didn't know until that accident?
I don't know if it was that accident that they found it or
that'd be crazy.
But it was the second time he had it in his life. So he just was knocked, he was pretty knocked out by it. And throughout that, he sort of stepped back. And then I went from being the three of us, sort of what I envisioned or what we started as, to now is a totally different thing, but it's the same thing.
Well, no wonder you got burnt out, dude.
Yeah, it was a lot. And it's as a friend, to see your friend going through that. I mean,
that's horrible.
One of my best friends.
Yeah.
And it's like, just see somebody struggling through a thing that you can't control. The stuff, man. But he's doing better now. And
he is.
Yeah. Now, I want to get him out to a race. Yeah.
So
But yeah.
you've really, unfortunately been running with a line and
Yeah. And it's a huge, like,
a huge undertaking. I was
I,
just gonna say, like, man, you guys are so smart to like be teaming up and
well, now though, yeah, now it's sort of that, the framework that we put in, like mainly Rich and I worked together like crazy. Like we did so much badass stuff together. Like we shot the one year we did, because we do other stuff besides race stuff. Like, and this goes back to Instagram. I probably should use it more for certain reasons, like to show people what I'm doing, because we've been doing some media launches and things like that. There's other aspects of the business.
it's a pain in the butt, but it's a really
It's a
good
good tool.
tool.
Yeah, everybody's on it. Like I'm on it all the time. I love it. And it's like, but again, like there was a year that Rich and I, we did like, we were going on a Honda launch in Tennessee, and then we went to the nations. And remember when the last time Team USA won at Redbud, like we shot that, and it was at the end of like a marathon trip. And I remember him and I just crushed it. Like we just did great work. We were like, dude, we just like, what a cool end to the year. And like, I look back at those memories like so fondly, like you've done things, you're doing great work with your friends. Right. And that to me is like embodies what Alliant Media is.
So it's almost even more than like the photos that you took away. It was like the experience of being there and capturing it with your friends.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like what you remember.
Yeah. And I like just being like, dang, we did that. And a big thing that we do is working together, and there's no egos. Like, I don't care if I say to Adam Merrow, I'm like, what do you want to do for the finish line? Like, do you have a shot that you want to take? Maybe. I hope. Because then I want to do this, or I have an idea. But it's coming to the table with multiple ideas to get one end goal. Whereas like when you're by yourself, it's a lot.
You have any so internally with your team and your friends, there's not egos or like
No.
competition, but like in the industry, does it feel like competition with the other photographers, or like is there any like rivalries or like
There was a lot of I got a lot of like, we got a lot of flack when we started by it was a big kind of ruffled feathers, I think, because we were,
from other photographers?
yeah, we came in kind of hot. I think we came in with a really good product. And I think it was just kind of like, damn, these guys are doing it. And it was a little bit sort of like maybe some ego driven
Shook things up a little bit.
competition. Yeah, shifted it up. And I think the way that we do it is just, I won't accept anything but the best product for me. Like I just want to freaking do great work. And we're super passionate. So I think that's frustrating to have to go against if you're somebody else. So maybe there's that ego stuff. But I think overall everyone gets along, and it's a small sport. I mean,
Well, you're like rubbing elbows because like at a supercross
Oh my
race, you guys
gosh.
have a small space that you can work from, and you're all like the few of you that are there, you're all shooting and kind of like competing to get a better shot. And you're also like kind of competing in the industry to get
You get clients.
the select amount of clients that are available.
Yeah, and there's not like, it's a smaller pool than people realize, but yet the industry's healthy. So it's like now the position I'm in, I'm now running a company that has that share, like a good, we have a good amount of work. I'm the guy that I looked at and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I don't think I have a shot there. And that's not how it is. But I think like looking at Simon back in the day, I'm like, dude, that guy's doing it. And
That's
now
you now.
it's crazy. Like not just me, it's the team.
Well, it's funny. Every time I watch Supercross, I see you on the screen. I'm like, dude,
Scurrying
there's
around
Emery. That's
like
crazy.
a squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what my wife's always like, look at you over there, just like
Running
laughing.
around.
Yeah.
Because
But
you're so in the zone.
yeah, it's crazy. It's funny to watch it on TV because you'll just see like, and Adam too, like his wife was laughing because one time it was San Francisco last year. Remember the epic mud race? It was just like freaking monsoon, and we were all just roached out, like all mud on our face. And Adam was just like roving around at the podium, and like he just looked like a psycho. And she was like, "Look at this dude! Like that's my
All you're thinking about is like capturing that moment.
yeah." You're like you have a task at hand in a small amount of time to do it.
Yeah.
It's wild, man.
And with that crazy schedule, all the travel, like you're gone at least half the time. How do you maintain your health? Because like that'll wear you down.
That goes back to the cycling. I think that's something that I'm learning, or I have learned in the past 5 years. Like when I started living the aligned lifestyle, like me personally, I was the guy that I wanted to do the Instagram, and I wanted to push and really show our work creatively. And I still to this day like pride myself. Like if you go to the Align Instagram from top to bottom, like it's a whole piece. Like whether it's it's curated, you know? And I at the time nobody was doing like wallpapers, which are like stories. Started doing that every Wednesday. Just simple things that I sort of took from Transworld, like content ideas.
How would you do that? You would just post, like, people could download them on like your
Just
website,
story, just
just
story.
stories, and just
No, yeah.
screenshot it.
Every Wednesday I would just do like
Well, I guess on a
30,
story you can like
you
press
can
on
hold
it
your
and
finger
then
on it and then
everything.
screenshot it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's smart. Dude.
Yeah. And it was just a simple way for me to not only like reflect on our photos, but share my favorite stuff that we were all shooting. Cause like you at the end of any given weekend, we might have 3,000 photos in a folder, which is like daunting. Like that's a lot of photos.
When you're combing through them, are you like, oh, that's a wallpaper? Like
Yeah, you're
top
like,
10
"Oh,
or
that's
something.
cool." Yeah, and then you're able to share, but in that same process, I was burning myself out. I was sitting there on my computer doing that stuff.
Doing
It's like yeah,
extra
in
work.
Photoshop,
Yeah, it's
laying out a
hard.
photo, laying out this, and now 5 years later, we do that a little bit, but I also the industry has changed, like, a lot of people caught on to that, and now you'll see people doing wallpapers, which is great, and I'm not saying I don't wanna do them, but it's like, we're here to provide a service for brands, like,
Yeah.
who am I
Don't
to
burn
blow up
myself out.
and I
Like,
don't need to blow the content out, like, I wanna let the brands use the content too, you know what I mean?
yeah, that's huge. And that's a good lesson to the younger photographers that are very trigger happy on social media. Like, you'll be on a shoot and just posting a bunch of content either on the shoot or the next day or
Yeah.
after the shoot. It's like, guys, like these brands like are
They
hiring you to make content for them and you're posting it before they even have a chance to see it.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like a fine line because like, eh, like, say we work with Renthal, they have a pretty on it, like, their social style, then they do wallpapers, and they choosing from the same photos that I would be, so who am I to try to not beat them to the punch, but be like, "Oh, I wanna get these out to the just for my social following," which is, not major, but it's the
Sometimes the brands are stoked on it. Like they'll be stoked for the love
yeah, I
and
think it
like
goes
the
both ways.
the BTS stuff. I guess it depends on the scenario.
Yeah,
But
but I
like
think week in and week out,
I've
it's
had
like
both experiences where it's like, "Oh, can you share some BTS?" Or like we tag a brand in something and they're stoked. Or there's been a time where like a photographer has like shared something and the brand's like, "What the hell? Like you guys aren't supposed to be sharing that yet." And I'm like, "Ah."
yeah,
And I
yeah,
got to
yeah,
call the photographer like, "Slam the brakes."
and you're like, just that comes out of pure stoke,
You're stoked. It
which is
comes
like
from a good place.
yeah.
But you got to also remember that like we're shooting this for the client.
Yeah, your job as a photographer is to capture something for hopefully for a brand, right? So it's like, and that's where I like, even just, I again, I go back to Instagram. Sort of loathe it because I love the community of it. And I get so much inspiration from people. Like you bring up Tyler, like Tyler's stuff is so cool. There's so many people that I barely know them, but I feel like on Instagram, I chat with them here and there and just cool stuff. Like, and I hope that I'm that person for other people, where it's like, but it's like, then I still sometimes am like, God, I need to post something. Like I haven't posted something so long, but like even like yesterday or the day before I posted like some portraits from the Feld media sessions and those photos, I've done that job for 5 or 6 years. I've never posted any work from it because I feel like it's not my place. Like I shot those for other people to use and they go everywhere. I mean, those photos are on there. It's what you see on TV of the guy smiling. It's what you see, those hero shots. Like,
Yeah.
but I was like, man, why don't I share some of these? These are cool. Like, so I just posted them up and then,
People loved it.
yeah. But it's been since December. So it's way past the point of relevancy in that moment. Like I couldn't post that in December. That would be,
You gave those brands the space to run with
yeah. And
those.
it's just Feld. Like it's mainly for Feld, for the promoter, like for assets, for like their advertising collateral.
But then once
but-
it's no longer relevant, you're like, "Oh, I could share this now."
It's like you can revisit it and be like, dang, that's like, it's cool. And I love that about Instagram, kind of being able to share what you shot in the moment where you're supposed to shoot. My job was this, and I did that, but I was able to do this, this, and this. You know what I mean? And like kept it unique for my own brain.
100%.
I don't know.
But yeah, back to like this crazy schedule you have. How do you
Yeah.
maintain your health through like
Oh,
all the
man.
travel? Because when you're not at home with like your consistent routine and you're living on the road, it's way harder to like stay feeling good, you
So
know?
that goes back to last year. Like, I think I'm learning this year, like this past year has been a major milestone for myself and like I said, doing those wallpapers, like not sitting at the computer on Monday. Me and all of my friends, we do, every Monday is called Mandatory Monday, and you have to ride your bike, whether it's like an easy ride or a hard ride or whatever it might be. And it's, you have to get out and do it. Like, don't sit at your computer. You worked all weekend, get out and ride. And it's become this thing where,
Good reset.
yeah. And it's sort of like, man, you deserve that. Like, who works every day of their life? Not happy people don't. I mean, it's good to work hard, but it's also, you need to hit the reset button. So
I just have to think too, like the whole purpose of doing work is so that you can have the freedom to enjoy your life.
exactly.
So like if the pursuit of this thing is taking away from the end goal, then like what's the point?
Yeah, and you start to get, and it's like you go back to that, like worrying about the house of cards falling down. It's easy to just grind and grind and grind and take every opportunity and never turn anything down. And it's like, man, at some point you need to really check in on yourself and make sure you're okay and like not killing yourself. But that I give so much praise to bicycles and anything two wheels. Like last year I rode quite a bit of motocross. On like Wednesdays, there's a really cool track that was, it's called the Back Nine. And they're like 35 minutes away. It was like California vibes. Cause like growing up here, you can't get to a track that fast, you know? So that was a huge sort of like, my wife bought me the bike. I'm like, dang, I can
There's a good
moto on
moto scene out
Wednesday.
here though.
Yeah, there is.
I came out here like as a privateer, like trying to race.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was out here for like, I had grandparents that lived in Pittsburgh area.
Yeah.
I was staying with them for like a month during the time when it was like High Point and Southwick and some races out here.
Yeah.
But I remember going to the local tracks and like you'd see Brock Kepler.
Yeah.
And you'd see like Darren Durham.
Yep.
And like Brandon Jessamine. I was like,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania
And
was
Brandon
stacked.
Jessamine, that's a throwback name. Pennsylvania and like the New England area is crazy.
Yeah, like
And it's
Barsha.
like-
and
Going back to that track, like they're going through like litigation right now, and I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but they got shut down like over a year ago, and they're battling through that. But it's a bummer because that was like such an easy way for me to go ride, and that goes back to the health thing. So I hope they can overcome that and stuff. I'd love to ride there again, but in replace of dirt biking this year has really been cycling. So I have a goal every week. I ride 100 miles a week, which is like, I don't know if that's a lot or not for cyclists, but for me, it's a pretty good amount of miles. It's cool. And it's definitely getting me in good shape and keeping my brain happy, you know?
Dude, when you keep your body moving, I feel like your brain is a lot happier.
Yeah. And dude, on the road, you're eating junk food. I don't care who you are. You're not going to eat healthy all the time. And it's like so easy to turn into a pile.
Dude, it's so hard.
Yeah.
Even just like doing this podcast, I go on the road for like 2 to 3 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
And then I can go home for like a couple months and like have my routine and be healthy. But like I'm trying so hard to like
So hard.
eat clean and sleep well. And like, but at the end of the day, like you're in these food deserts. Like
Mhm.
I can't find organic
No.
food. I'm sleeping in like moldy hotel rooms. I'm getting like plastic bottles. And
And
I'm
your
like,
comfort, food is comfort too, right? When you're traveling. So like
yeah.
that McDonald's meal might hit because you're just like, dang,
dude, I
that's
try
familiar.
my best to just like avoid it, but it's like sometimes you don't have options on the road.
No,
It
it's
sucks.
true. And late nights, like what's open at 11, 12 o'clock?
Yeah,
That's
after
good
you're
for
done
you.
with a race.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, it's tough.
And you guys, it's so gnarly. Like you guys finish a race at like 10 or 11 p.m. at night, and then you have to go edit all these photos. And
Yeah, we're up late. But sleep schedule is gnarly. Like,
so that balance throughout the rest of the week on like being able to focus on things
Yeah.
that make you feel good is so important
yeah,
for
and like
longevity.
that's what my wife, we joke with each other because when I'm gone, I have 3 kids, and she does all that solo, and she's a stay-at-home mom, but works she does back end stuff for business. So it's not like she's not working. but I'm like, I don't know how you do it. And then she, on the same page,
He's like, I
looks
don't know
at
how you do
me
it.
and she's like, yeah, I don't know how you do it either.
It's almost like when you go off to work, it's like, it's a grind for both of you.
Oh my gosh, totally. And it's like, that's why I'm so forever grateful to have met somebody that can deal with somebody like myself. Like, it's such a unique like lifestyle that we live. And like, yeah, I'm home. Today is what, Wednesday? I'm home, totally free. Like, I get to have a lot of great time at home during the week. And that's like, if I didn't, it would never work.
No, you got to have that balance.
Yeah. And sometimes I take jobs in between race weekends. Like, I'll still do some commercial work, still do different things, but that the balance is so key with life. And I think as you get older, you know, my body, I need to take care of it just like anybody.
So important,
So
dude.
important.
So important.
That's what I'm most focused on right now, especially with my knee, trying to, like, I know I have to get a knee replacement. Not like, it's not like I can't walk, but I can't
If you
really
have to.
skateboard. It hurts. Yeah. Like, I have no options besides a knee replacement.
Really?
Like right now,
Have
my
you
main
ever
focus.
have you ever thought about like stem cells?
Stem cell, I thought about it, but I have so much arthritis in it that I went to the doctor like maybe last year, and I was expecting him to be like, oh yeah, we can do this arthroscopic surgery and maybe clean you out. Like, I thought, and he just like came in, he's like, I've never seen a knee this bad.
Someone your age.
No, like
In general.
ever. He goes, you have worse arthritis than like an 80-year-old in his, you know, experience. And he was like laughing. And I'm like, this isn't that funny, dude. Like, it's kind of like bumming me out.
Sucks, yeah.
But, so that's why I kind of have a limp to my walk. People are like, dude, you all right? Sometimes I ask him like, yeah, I just got a bad knee.
It's just you're working on your feet a lot too.
But again, that goes back to health, trying to get in really good shape. So if I do have the opportunity,
you probably know this, but there's like exercises you can do to try to at least like strengthen the knee a little to maybe alleviate some of that pain.
And that's what I'm trying to do. Like right now, I'm trying to focus on, like, of course, cycling is super good for your legs. And then
even like pulling a sled or like walking backwards uphill.
Yeah. There's a guy that does the
knees over toes.
Yeah, knees over toes.
I was gonna say,
I have that book.
You should, that should help a little.
Yeah. So everything I'm doing right now, aside from my work life, is based on trying to get my knee and my leg in the best position to have a knee replacement, whether that's 5 years from now or whatever, because that's such a massive surgery.
And push it out as long as you can.
I know.
But,
So
yeah,
it's crazy.
Throughout this journey as a photographer, you've had a lot of different experiences, you know, between the magazine and shooting events and your time at Insider. When you look back at like the entire journey, are there any like moments or memories that stand out to you most?
Like things that I feel like are accomplishments.
Like an experience that you've had that like really stands out as being like meaningful.
Trans world trips back in the day where I got to go on so many cool trips across the world. Like I was, you know, MIPS, that the company MIPS that does the liners and the helmets. Like I went on an editorial trip for Trans World, Stockholm, Sweden, and it was such a non-moto trip. Whereas like they brought us to the MIPS headquarters. I got to see Stockholm, and then they brought us on this air boat ride to the archipelago. Like we camped on an island. Like, you know how it is when you're an editor that sometimes you go on these trips and they pull out all the stops. Like
so fun.
You're on a trip that like people would pay money for. And yeah, I have to write a story about it. So there's work involved.
But like, experiences,
those experiences are so like, I have a list of places that I want to go with my kids and with my wife, and like Stockholm. That was such a cool city. I got to go to Japan with Suzuki, like places that you'd never think that a camera would take you.
I think people got to remember that too. Like going into this, like the images that you capture are like really, you can be really proud of like the work you did, but like what makes it special is the experience along the way and like the process of doing it.
Yeah. And like unforgettable times where your back's against the wall. Like I remember one of those trips was Jeffrey Hurling's DC was his sponsor at the time. And we went on a trip with Trans World to capture his like 50th GP win. And that was like at his home track. It wasn't it was Valkenswaard, not Lommel. Valkenswaard was like his home GP. So we were going to do a feature on him for Trans World, and I don't know him. I thought he was a dick, like from my outside perspective, because he was cocky back in the day. And I'm like, I wonder if this trip's going to be fun or not. And that was such an unknown time. And I go across the world with some cool people like Donnie Wilson, who rest in peace. He just passed away. He was such an amazing dude, but he was a sales guy at Transworld, or general manager of the mag. Him, myself, and Nate Hawley from DC. You know Nate probably.
I worked with Nate.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I worked at DC during that time.
Oh, so you?
And I remember using one of your photos in an ad that we put.
Oh,
together.
that's so cool. Yeah. So that's, you know exactly
So
what I'm
fun.
talking about.
Yeah.
But that trip, I was there to do, the main thing was that he was going to win his 50th GP. Like that was the sort of not the whole story, but that was why, sort of the pinnacle of the trip, right? He was going to, and then, so we get there, it's a rainy day, like crazy rainy day. And before that, we had spent the week with Jeffrey, and I went from like, I never judge anybody like until I meet them, but in your head, you have these preconceived, like I almost didn't think, I remember writing the story, like I almost didn't think I was going to like Jeffrey Hurlings, because they just seemed like cocky, arrogant, and he was young. But when I met him, like one of the coolest dudes ever. We did a lifestyle shoot, and he brought a laundry basket filled with clothes. He's like, yeah, I didn't know what I needed to bring. And I'm just like, what athlete does that? Like, so, but going back to the race, the GP's happening, it's raining, and Jeffrey's so unique. I don't know what he does now, but he's so popular, and him and Cairoli were sort of battling, and they're both on KTM. So Cairoli would base himself out of the pits, and Jeffrey would sort of stay away from Cairoli, like, because they're both heavy hitters. So like Jeffrey's main dude, Ruben, I was like, hey, where does he get ready for the race? He's like, oh, he'll be in his van. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, his van in the parking lot. He'll be in his van. And I'm like, no shit. So I'm like, that's cool photos right there. So I went to his van, and in the middle of that walk, I got some photos of him putting his own tear-offs on, like doing his own tear-offs. I'm just like,
He probably just wants to do it himself.
yeah,
Part of his
like,
ritual.
I'm sure he has people to do that, but I think he was just, rain race, probably just dialing stuff in. But I go from his van back to the media tent, and it just opens up downpours on me, like torrential. And I have no camera, rain gear, nothing. Like I'm just carrying my cameras. So by the time I get back to the media tent, my camera dies. My main Nikon, my newest of my two
hide
cameras.
it under your shirt.
Oh, I did everything I could, and it was just like soaking wet, like pouring rain. So I'm sitting in the media tent. I'm like, oh my gosh, this race hasn't even happened yet, and I'm down a camera, like dead. Right. So I have one camera left, and that was a D3, a Nikon D3, which is a little older at the time, like second body, still fine. But I'm like, okay, cool. I got one camera, still good. We're gonna be fine. I'm going. It continues to rain, like it just continues to be nasty. Throughout the second moto, my LCD screen dies on that camera. So now I'm down. Not that you need it, but I had a digital film camera at that point. Like no chimping, no looking at your camera, no checking your settings. Like I'm shooting with a digital camera, hoping it's working. And I remember he's on his way to win the race, and to get the 50th win, and I'm down a camera. I have no LCD screen on my camera that I'm using, and I'm running from when you're at a race and you're like, oh, it's like 5 minutes to go. I got to get to the finish line, like to capture him winning the 50th GP. So I sort of hustle to get back to the finish line, and out of the corner of my eye, I see something flying through the air. It's the battery to the camera, lands in a mud puddle, completely submerged. And I'm like, no way. So I'm fishing through this puddle, trying to get the battery. I'm like, what do I do? Like, I'm just screwed myself. Like, this is crazy. So I blew out the battery, like blew out the contacts with my, and put it in, and it turned on, the camera turned on, and just like, dude, just go to the finish line and shoot. And I finished that job, like, with a freaking wing and a prayer, dude. Like, got everything I needed. All the photos turned out okay, obviously.
Well, and talk about pressure, because like this brand flew you across the world,
dude,
to capture this moment.
That moment,
that
And
moment.
I did everything I could to not get the picture. No, it was crazy. And like in hindsight, I'm so proud of myself for being able to rally and like not melt down,
Yeah.
like, cause you're just like,
Well, I know
seriously.
the photo because I saw it because I was working with DC
Yeah,
and
it's funny.
I had no idea the story behind that. You have
No,
no idea like what people go through to create this
yeah. And I
content.
think that goes to that also is a good circling back on the value of work. Like some of these young kids to sell yourself short, dude, it's hard to go shoot a race, right? So it's like you're going to go do that all day long and then just give something away. Like for what? Like that's such a hard job. Like realize the value of that. And it's like the value of those photos to me was priceless. Like I couldn't believe.
And that never say die mentality because a lot of people would just be like, oh man, my camera broke. And you have an excuse like, oh, I
Yeah,
couldn't get it. Sorry.
yeah, sorry, I missed it. Like someone else probably got it. It's like shit. Like and in my head, I have this vision of this whole piece coming together. And I think like the race stuff wasn't as big of like the race photos were in there, but the stuff I liked the most was portraits we shot and like lifestyle stuff we shot. It's really cool. That was like such a good memory of that trip. Like we had so much fun.
Dude, that's incredible.
Yeah.
When you look back, or I guess in like many years from now, when people look back at your work, what do you hope they see and feel?
Just I feel immense pressure to capture what is going to be an era years from now. Like I've shot every one of Jet Lawrence's championships. Like he's an all-time great right now. He's rewriting history books every
Kind of like
weekend.
Cudby with like Carmichael.
Yeah, and these guys it's such a crazy time in the sport. You have so many heavy hitters, and yeah, there's more cameras than ever. That doesn't mean there's not I have a duty to the sport. Like I want to leave the sport a better place with the images that I've created, and not just me, like align as a team, like what we do. I hope that impacts the industry from years to come, and we do a good service to a Jet Lawrence. So, 20 years from now, someone can look at that emotion that Jet had on championship day and be like, damn, that's cool. And who knows what it'll look like then. But I think it's like everyone thinks the golden age, oh man, it'll never be as cool as when like Carmichael and James were racing.
Dude, I can't imagine a cooler time than right now.
It's so magic right now. It's
Yeah.
like we have so much access.
Especially like this next year coming up. Like we have riders moving up from the 250s to the 450s, and it's going to be so exciting.
Like the Deegan Jet
Deegan and
hype.
Jet. Dude, I'm so excited.
I know. And I
You
think
don't
like,
get that often.
no. And it's like what Deegan is doing for the sport is massive. And I think he's polarizing. Like people are like, oh, look, another whatever. And I'm like, dude, keep doing that. Like I've told him straight to his face. I'm like, hey, like keep doing you, man. Like, and he doesn't give a shit. He'll do whatever he wants. But I'm like, keep chirping. It makes the sport so exciting.
Fun.
And he's a great guy. Like I've worked with him personally for brands. Amazing. Like so respectful. So he's not a punk. Like, yeah, maybe he's publicly tries to be a punk here and there and like jabs.
It's a kid.
Yeah. And he's having fun. Like, why wouldn't you want that? It's
And he's
so
being
cool.
real, like bringing personality to a sport that can be kind of stale sometimes.
Oh, totally.
There's like scripted answers and like, oh, the track was good and thanks to my sponsors. He's saying some real shit that's like entertaining and yeah, I love it.
And to actively engage in head games.
Yeah.
Like to be like,
we haven't seen that since like J-Law.
No, and I'm like, how could you not like that? Like, how could you not want that to be in our sport? And he backs it up. Like, that's the thing. It'd be one thing if he wasn't backing it up, but like he's backing it up. So it's pretty cool. And like, again, I say Jet, but like him too. I've shot everything. So, I mean, those are going to be photos that hopefully are iconic years to come. Like that's the goal, right? Like leave your mark on the industry with your eyes. And like, I'm so lucky that people want to see what I look at through my camera. Like how cool is that? Right. It's like insane.
And that you get to leave a mark on the era that you were involved in. That's so special.
Yeah. It's like a duty. Like if you're doing it, like it's your civic duty to capture the
preserve
sport.
This history.
Yeah.
To preserve this moment in time for for people to appreciate it in the future.
Well, that goes back to COVID. Like I have so much stuff in this, like I have so much work that hasn't been seen by anybody from COVID. I documented like that whole time, and I don't know what will come of all that stuff. Like I have ideas, but I have like portraits with masks, mask on, mask off, like all sorts of crazy stuff. I have, I could show you, but that was such a wild time to be around. And like that, I was like, okay, I even shot self-portraits of myself doing my COVID tests, like at my house. Cause I'm like, I had to pass a COVID test to go to work in 2020. You know what I mean? So, I mean, as a photographer or videographer, I think your job is to preserve the history if that's what you're doing for work, right?
If you could sum up like what photography has given you outside of just something like a job, what would that be?
Just the ability to see the world in a different way and like show people how you see the world. Like, how cool is that? I'm able to I do whatever I want on Saturday. Like, I know what I need to do. Like, yes, there's definitely tasks, but like I could spend 30 minutes in a corner or waiting for one portrait just because I want to. And like, how freaking cool is that? Like, that's freedom. Like, giving me freedom to do what I want within the constraints of the job, obviously. But like, to be able to pay my bills doing something that I love, it's like such a lucky life. Like, and I think a lot of people go through life really looking for that thing, like that
tool for freedom.
Magic. Yeah. Like, what's their purpose, right? Like, I think I found it, and that's so lucky. Like, and it took me to be an automotive mechanic. I worked crappy jobs. You know what I mean? Like, it took a long time to get there, and it didn't happen overnight. But it's like, it teaches you to stay. It's sort of, I'm proud that I stuck with it. I hope that younger people see that and sort of like, no, it's like, if you want something, we live in a pretty cool country. You can get it, you know? Like,
it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
There's not like this instant gratification to get to like a real high level dream. Like, you gotta be willing to like make the steps happen along the way.
Yeah.
And recognize when the opportunities are there and capitalize on those opportunities, because like we said earlier, they don't come often.
No. So, and it's like, yeah, you get an opportunity and run with it. It's like, whatever that is, like, go above and beyond. Or someone asks you to do something that you don't know how to do, like, figure it out, or tell them you don't know how to do it and learn.
Fake it till you make it. Lie, like Emery said, until you can, and then you'll learn through experience.
And like, you might become like, say me with video, like I can do video. Like, I know the mechanicals of it. I'm not a videographer. I wouldn't call myself a videographer, but like, dude, I know how to shoot video. Like, I would take a random low level video job all day long. And I already know that I can lean on Chris Bose and he would crush it, you know? And that's what surrounding yourself with people that are amazing. Like, that's what Align's so cool for. It's like, you know, like I every week I'm like excited to see what Chris does, what's Adam doing, or whoever's shooting with us that week, you know? So like, I'll still have like Simon will come out and shoot, and he's like, he works for me. Like, he jokes. He's like, what do you want me to do?
That's
I'm
hilarious.
like, dude, do whatever you want. Like, you are Simon Cudby, man. Like,
that's so funny.
Never not going to be Simon Cudby.
That's cool, man.
It's like, it's just like, also gives you, if I'm tired and I'm like burnt, bring somebody in, make your job easier. It's okay. Like, have some humility. It's okay to not feel great all the time. You know what I mean? Like relying on people for their talents is so cool.
Yeah.
And sharing it with them, you know?
Yeah.
It's really fun.
It's great advice, man. And it's been a pleasure to, like, you know, circling back to Cudby, seeing like, you know, those early days of you kind of entering the scene and hearing like Cudby talking about this like upcoming photographer, and now you guys are working together, and like, it's just been cool to see your career from this like young photographer to the editor at Transworld to now running your own business with the top photographers in the history of the sport. And like,
pretty crazy.
It's amazing to see, dude.
Thank you.
It's super inspirational for me and other creatives, and I appreciate you sharing your story.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah.
Even wanted to hear my story.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Cheers, brother.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That was fun.
Yeah. Foreign Rider is my favorite apparel brand, hands down. Founded by my friend Ralph Dunning, a pioneer in the apparel industry with over 30 years of experience, he built this company for people like us, riders, explorers, creators, those who live active lives and need gear that can keep up. When I'm training, I wear the Odyssey collection. It keeps me cool, dry, and performing better for longer. When I'm traveling or just relaxing at home, the Solace collection is my go-to for unmatched comfort. But the real standout for me is the Merino base layers. They keep you warm, dry, and feeling perfect under a waxed canvas jacket for those cooler rides. And when it's hot, like it is here in Florida, the Odyssey long sleeve tee keeps me super cool and comfortable all day long. The fit, the feel, the quality of these products is on another level. And that's why I literally wear them every single day. Foreign Rider isn't just clothing, it's a mindset. A reminder to live with intention, to choose quality over quantity, and the exploration of freedom, whatever freedom means to you. Check out the full collection at foreignrider.com. Once you wear it, there's no going back.